everyone, Ed DeCosta here of eddecosta.com. This is my video blog entry for Wednesday, September the 12th, 2012. The title for today's entry is Believing is Seeing, the Power of Confidence in Action. Now, self-confidence, as you probably know, is a state of mind based upon your belief system. When you're confident, you're able to perform better in all areas of your life, regardless of the outside circumstances that you face. You're able to maintain your calmness of mind and clarity of thought, even during difficult, challenging times. So your belief, in this case your belief in yourself, becomes your reality. In other words, you see what you believe, not the other way around. You know that old saying, I'll believe it when I see it? No. The saying should be, I'll see it when I believe it. So if you believe strongly enough and then act with boldness and confidence, the world will conform to your belief. Let me illustrate this with a story told to me by a friend and the famous success expert Brian Tracy. So there's this businessman in dire straits, lost sales, deeply in debt, under tremendous pressure. He's considering declaring bankruptcy, considers himself a tremendous failure. It's the end of the day, long day, so he decides to go for a walk in the park and decide what to do. While he's on the walk in the park, he encounters an elderly man who demands to know why the businessman appears so melancholy. So for some reason, he decides to pour out his soul to this elderly gentleman. He tells him all about his dire financial situation, how his company was on the verge of collapse, despite the fact that it was fundamentally a sound business. So the older man listens carefully, and at the end of the story, he asks the man his name, pulls out his checkbook. He forces a check into the man's hand and says, meet me here in 1 year so you can pay me back. Now, as Brian's story continues, the elderly man then disappears into the darkness of the park. So when the businessman looks into his hand, he's shocked to see a check for $500,000 endorsed by John D. Rockefeller, who happened to be the wealthiest man in the world at the time. So at first he thinks, well, I'm going to go cash this check immediately and instantly resolve all of my financial problems. But then he decides to put it in his safe, knowing that he can go get the check at any time. He decides instead that he's going to use his knowledge of the existence of the check to deal more confidently with his business situation. So now with this renewed sense of enthusiasm and confidence, he plunges back into his business, is able to settle with his creditors, lands several new large contracts, and of course he turns his business around in just a few months. So 1 year from the initial meeting, he goes back to the park with the now uncashed check, and he's going to return it to Mr. Rockefeller. He can hardly wait to tell now this new story of success. You can imagine how excited he is, right? So now he sees the elderly man approaching, but he's surprised to also see a nurse running up to the two of them. So the nurse frantically takes the old man by the arm and apologizes to the businessman, saying, I'm so glad I caught him. I hope he hasn't bothered you. He's always escaping from the rest home and telling people that he's John D. Rockefeller. She then leads the man away. So the businessman, as you can imagine, was stunned. So over the past year, he's been wheeling and dealing, thinking he had a $500,000 check to save him if he needed it. It suddenly dawns on him that he made his business a success based upon his belief, even though the information causing this particular belief turns out to be inaccurate. Smiling, he realizes that it was his own self-confidence in action that had been responsible for the turnaround of his fortunes. So it's a great story, isn't it? So my challenge, my takeaway to you is to face the world with this level of self-confidence. Believe me when I tell you, the world will accept you at your estimation of yourself. Once again, the world will accept you at your estimation of yourself. The irony is that you must convince yourself first. Once you've got self-confidence and you put it into action, the world will accept you. Your beliefs will become your reality. Simple as that. So that's it for this week. I hope you found this enlightening and helpful. Again, my name is Ed DeCosta, and wherever you find yourself in this great, big, beautiful world, make it